Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Daily Live. It is the press conference reaction. David Moyes has just given his pre-match press conference ahead of Everton versus Leicester City at Goodison Park tomorrow in a relegation 6-pointer. What did you make of his press conference, John? What did you make of his demeanour? What did you make of...
Demeanour's interesting because body language and all that, you know. We're all amateur psychologists at some stage, aren't we? But I think there was clear differentiation between the questions he sort of liked, as in they were easy, and he was probably sat like this, Baz, leaning forward,
relaxed,
and others which were, and the rock back ones are when we're talking about quality of players and how difficult the market is and those sorts of things.
PSR.
And PSR, of course, as well. But the early part of that question, which seemed like a setup, I suppose. But, the sort of thing we have to put behind us, isn't it? This perpetual, it's all too hard and difficult, And he's a consummate professional, really. And he knows what he's doing. We've got a game tomorrow. Then you've got an interesting day on Sunday and Monday, presumably, around trying to get players across the line. I think he's making it crystal clear that we need, let's call it bodies. And he's not impressed with what he's been shown so far. And whether the dialogue he's had with people when he's perhaps given them a little bit of a hard time about, I'm not interested in these players on this list, has been pushed back on by whoever he's having that dialogue with, or with justifications around PSR and the like, which I don't get. Perhaps we'll come on to that later, but I don't get. So I just think it's chalk and cheese from the previous manager. Other than the rocking back in his chair thing, which makes it a bit too obvious, David, that you're not happy with some stuff. He's just so cool and relaxed and chilled. Controlled, great word, controlled. Where the other fellow was dripping with sweat and shooting from the hip. So, calm, controlled. There you go.
He's in total control.
Oh, totally.
And that's the difference.
Absolutely.
What did you make of the injury news? Obviously, we know Mangala's done for the season, and it's no real shock if he does return to Lyon. We don't know whether that loan means the agreement's been cancelled, or not. So that might just mean David Moyes saying Mangala's going back to Lyon. It's his parent club, so quite often you go back to the club the minute you've received an injury. Whether that means Everton can cancel a loan and use a different slot, I don't know. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I suppose, is positive news. It's not as bad as first thought. He doesn't need surgery, which will put it probably around 6 to 8 week mark that he'll be out for, as opposed to the season.
Oh, okay.
Well, if it's
it was 6 to 10.
If it's a bad hamstring tear, it's a bad hamstring injury but doesn't require surgery, that's 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
If it's surgery,
you just stick a bit more on.
Basically, you're not coming back.
Right,
or if you are, it's the last week. So that's good news. McNeil's had surgery, minor surgery.
Minor,
so you always expect that to be 4 weeks.
Chimitti's on. Be ready for within a month.
In a month's time. But obviously, Tim Idabunim is in the squad tomorrow. He didn't seem massively confident he could do probably more than 20 minutes. He said he needs to get his fitness up.
But he'll be in the game.
It's good being in the squad.
It is.
Who knows, you might see him for 10 minutes at the end, maybe.
Yeah.
But
you could take the Mangala thing anyway you like. He's done for the season, and he's going back to France. Doesn't mean that he's not still officially paid by us and everything.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying.
But we don't need slots per se for loans and things internationally necessarily. Would we use them if we had his?
Can't we just? We can't. We won't, because I'm pretty certain John Textor doesn't want to do any business with us anymore. It would have been nice to say, okay, we'll take a different player off you then.
Bit like the Chelsea.
We'll have Neymar or we'll have Cherky.
Yeah,
Ryan Cherky. We'll take them for you. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
No.
So we go with we for this one anyway. We knew it once we should have got to Wednesday and there was nothing. We knew we'd be going with what we've got. So that in mind, I imagine James Garner will start tomorrow.
Yes,
and I imagine Beto. Well, Beto will start.
He will start. Yeah.
we need to put this Michael Keane up front stuff to bed as well.
I was surprised that he answered the question.
He did say it's not the first thing in my mind, which was very much.
But he also said, "I'll try anything."
Yeah, well, he's
listen, I mean,
lots of managers.
Clearly, if we are one down with some minutes to go and he's got a sub left and Keane's on the bench, he might say, "Go and get in the box, big man," sort of thing. And he's done it before there, but that's probably the circumstances, isn't it? Not much more than that. Creating chances is what he wants, isn't it? And playing in a way tomorrow, particularly where Beto actually feels like he can be in the game, which is play it in front of him, not back to goal, that sort of thing, and get players around him, pass and move, pass and move. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Pretty radical, isn't it?
So all right. So that being said, let's move on to the PSR stuff then, which. See, the thing that I scratch my head with is Everton have got till June the 30th with PSR to get it in shape.
It's in shape now, isn't it?
It's in shape now, which the club have said on more than one occasion. So if he's saying PSR means we've only got 10 million to spend and I really want to spend 40, then fair enough. That doesn't mean there's no money. It just means we're not free to go and buy 30, 40, 50 million pound player, which is frustrating because I think we should. That's it. That's what he's saying. I get it. And he did sort of hint at that because he said it'll be corrected in the summer and we'll be able to move on to different things. But Everton have got just to be clear, Everton have got till June the 30th to correct whatever ills are there, if there is any, and I don't believe there are. But do you know what I mean? If Everton were to say, and again, it's difficult trying to get anyone out of anywhere in January, anyone of note. There's always players. And if you're looking for a certain type of player, it might be difficult. There's players in Europe. Does he want to go and take a chance? Do Everton want to take a chance in Europe? Maybe that's where they probably should go and do it, but Everton could still have till June the 30th if they spent money now and it took them the wrong side of PSR to correct that. The soft deadline, which it's been called in the press, because a lot of clubs, I think, will be doing that anyway.
Well, we want to be a club who can take advantage of that then, rather than be a victim of it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and this isn't what you've said, but there will be people perhaps thinking the same way, or even thinking, yeah, indeed, which is, and I'll paraphrase, right? Spend what you want, and then sell Branthwaite fixes it all, and then no one wants Branthwaite, or he's injured, or you sell him cheap.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't think you should ever mortgage the future. You make the right decision now, and then the consequences of the right decision now are whatever they are, right? I thought it was really difficult because of the way the questions were couched and the way he chose to answer them and all those sorts of things, that there's some inconsistencies there. I mean, the PSR issue, based on what we've all been told in the past, with you, getting from yours and whatever, I can only conclude that what you just said is the nearest to truth, because we're all guessing, we don't know, which is the calibre of player I want in this window, even if they were available, could cause us PSR issues, which is, a permanent deal for quite an expensive player. And it's all easier on July the 1st. So that messaging, we've all known that forever, haven't we? We know, and in fact we said earlier in the week, a penny spent now is a penny we can't spend, in the summer window. But if the player you want is available now, I'm struggling with this. PSR's a problem, because 1 minute it's PSR's not a problem, it's cash up front's the problem. It's almost like once cash up front's not the problem, it's PSR. And we've got headroom. We have to have headroom. You've done your sums on trading, if you like.
But they're for everyone.
What we don't know is how much money is being spent on things that would be captured by PSR. We can forget about the stadium, because none of that counts. We can forget about all the noise around interest payments and all those sorts of things, because the deck has been cleared.
Yeah.
I was very much of the opinion, after conversations with people at the club who should know, that we had been operating our PSR to cover all eventualities, up to and including that the interest case went against us. and we would still be within PSR, which perhaps constrained us in the summer a little bit, right? But we won that. In other words, no case to answer.
Yeah.
Therefore, whatever headroom you thought we had, I would argue there's a little bit more because of that. So it's just about, my take on it is it's calibre of player that David's commenting about. I'm not going to spend that money on those players. You know, we do believe, don't we, or think, that he has probably spent the last week sitting down with the guys in-house and saying, right, you know, it's changed a bit because of these injuries, but what's on our list?
Yeah.
And I would just suspect or suggest he's not seen like what he's seen on the list. It's all been stuff below what he thinks we should be doing. And he said more than once, didn't he? A club of this size should be competing. He's basically saying we shouldn't be, you know, buying in Quick Save. We should be in wherever, Marks and Spencer's or somewhere. And then the hook to justify that is PSR. But he's also a poker player, mate. So
of course, he's always done that, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's always done it.
He's always done it.
You know, we think he's talking to us, but he might be talking to agents and other clubs and all sorts of things. All of the above. All of the above. The interesting one, because you're talking about the owner. Yeah. Right? The owner's about producing cash. It's not about anything else, right? Yeah, so if the reason is PSR, not to do with the owner at all. No. And we don't think it's PSR, so maybe it's a lack of cash.
I mean, when they say PSR, we have to be clear, because we've seen Newcastle today. Newcastle United are very wealthy, we know they are, or have got access to some funds. I mean, the reported funds Newcastle have got are nonsense, because it's
just because the size of the wealth fund or whatever it is. Right? Yeah.
But Newcastle shouldn't have money issues. Yeah, Eddie Howe's just said today we've had to sell Almiron. We've had to sell him. We've got no choice. For PSR. So we all know that we're having to play in these parameters now. Of course. Okay, Everton's maybe stretched a little bit more than others, just, you know, and that all gets better in the summer simply because the income rises and things. So we sort of know that, don't we? And I'm quite comfortable if David Moyes says, he's never going to say this, but if the reality of it is Everton have got £15 million that they could spend in this thing, cash-wise.
Whatever it is,
15 million. That won't put us in any PSR issues. And we've got a few other things for loans and stuff. So that's the budget we're working with. And he's saying, yeah, but I want to buy
someone worth, I don't cost more.
Someone who's going to cost 40 million. Now, my only thing with that would be, would that go in as £40 million on PSR?
No, absolutely
It'd
not.
go in as sort of 8 million.
Well, okay, so let's play the game now, because people are watching or will watch, right? You pick 40 million as a number. It doesn't matter, really. Yeah. Is this clearly going to be a player who we're going to put on a decent length contract? So
5 years, whatever.
5 years. So 5 years is 8 million depreciation per year.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's only 5 months of the financial year left. 5 full months.
5 full months, yeah.
So you'd say 5/12 of 8.
Yeah.
That's what the PSR impact would be. That's not huge.
Yeah.
Not huge at all. Okay. But
so I'm trying to work out, because the point I'm trying to do in my own head as well here is speaking to different people who are in and around it, seeing people like Mark Douglas, who we know, the iPaper, who we know gets his information from Everton.
Right, yeah.
He does. He's already said there's money to spend. Okay. There's money there, Everton. But what Everton are trying to do is weigh up whether it's worth it now, because you don't want to.
Totally.
And I've got no issue with that. As recruitment, no problem with that, because that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
You don't want to go, should we waste a bit of money now on it's not even, can we spend 10 million now? The impact of it is, if we spend 10 million now on these two players that we don't really want,
that's the issue.
It's a waste of money.
Total waste of money.
I have no problem with that.
Wasting money.
Zero issue with going, not sure, because they don't get in my team next season. They'll get in now, but what our plans are for the summer, they don't get in it. And I'm having to weigh up to do it and give us that comfort blanket to get us through to May. And then we're left with players, which has been the real issue for Everton over the last few years, has been we've had players who won't go anywhere. No one wants to buy them. whatever.
So release them then. Just let them go.
You
Pay them
can't,
up.
though, can you? And I know I'm saying, if that's what it is.
No, if somebody, I'm with you. Totally with you.
That's what it is.
If someone's thinking, here's your point, we're going to spend X, a certain amount of money, on a player or players, which the manager completely and utterly expects come come the closure of the summer window, those guys ain't going to be anywhere near playing, because otherwise he's been somewhat misled. Whatever, right? Yeah. And therefore, you're actually just paying an amount of money to give yourself a comfort blanket of staying in the Premier League. 150 plus £1 million if you're in the Premier League. Let's slap 10 of that down now to give bodies, if you want to just call it literally, right? Then the most honest thing to do in those circumstances is to offer some of those. So look at Danny Ings. He's out of contract in the summer, right? Only because someone threw it in, right? He's out of contract at West Ham in the summer. You say, well, you can come and spend your last 6 months in the Premier League here, and you'll make more money than if you stay there. But West Ham go, oh, but we want £5 million transfer fee, please. We go, no, don't go there. And maybe that literally is where David's at. The bodies can come through the door, but he's also, and this is his thing from before, isn't it? He wants value as well. Yeah. He does treat it like it's his own money to some degree, right? And I think he's musing over, and he got the question, do you think you can go with what you've got? Yeah. And he might know better at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Can he go with what he's got? Because if we've beaten Leicester, then I'm not saying that would be the binary decision. I'd be
massively worried if that was his thinking.
No, but if you're on a tipping point around value or the player himself, and we lose tomorrow, it's got to be a different consideration than if we win, hasn't it? Well, it has, hasn't it? Maybe
no, because what you're doing shouldn't be dependent on winning.
Well, I know, and I advocate that all the time. I'm just saying, what happens when if you're on a tipping point, shall I, shan't I? Yeah. Maybe even your heart saying, "Don't do it." Sorry, big pardon. Your brain saying, "Don't do it," but your heart saying, "What if?" I'm reliant on one guy not getting injured, that sort of thing. We've got on strikers, for example. But it was very odd, and this is football clubs, and this is this time of the year. We want clear communications, but we don't want to know chapter and verse what our plans are, and we should just accept at this stage what the manager in particular, because he has to go in public, is saying is not necessarily the truth. It's the truth to get us what the best deals or the best value, put it that way, that we can between now and Tuesday morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we'll know on Tuesday morning what was really going on, won't we? Yeah.
I still, listening to it, I still think he was sort of hinting that he wants players in.
Oh, totally.
And players will come in.
He wasn't even hinting, he said it.
Yeah, so it is what it is. I don't, again, the big rebuild's the summer, isn't it? So it's just being able to make sure we've got enough to get what we need to get over the line.
And these are air cover players, aren't they, that we're trying to
see, get? My only issue is with it all is that there are players, it's a big world.
Oh, yeah.
And there are players out there who Everton could get without having to break the bank, who I think would help and could be there for the longer term. The trade-off will be whether or not he thinks they can help him in the short term.
Who are they?
Players in other countries. He's sort of said, oh, well, we might need people to go in now, and we might, you know what I mean? Where I'd be thinking, well, can we get this player out of here for €12 million, €3 million down payment, whatever? And Moyes might say, yeah, but he might need 6 weeks to get
up to speed.
And go, yeah, but he's there though, isn't he? Yeah. And therefore, in 2 weeks, he might be good for 15 minutes. And by 4 weeks, he might be ready to play 90 minutes. And by 6 weeks, he might be the one that turns things.
And if that a guy's playing somewhere else, then he's closer to match fitness than James Garner is, Chimisi is, Erabunam is, and maybe part of what he's saying is, but I don't want to have a bench full of guys who've got 20 minutes.
We're always going to have this, aren't we? Because fans are nervous, of course.
Always.
You look at it. We've had to do, if this was our first rodeo, maybe. don't know him. You might be worse.
I've heard that somewhere before.
We're battle-hardened now, aren't we, from the last few years? But you're still going to be nervous. You're still going to be thinking, if everyone's fit.
Have we had Mangala and DCL?
Yeah, if Dom and Mangala were still fit, and
I think that would have been a different press conference.
I still think he said when he come in he needed players.
No, he'll still be saying it, but
he still would have thinking.
Yeah.
But if they'd still been fit and Broya was still fit, say, we'd all still be saying we need to try and get someone on with pace.
We do.
In a wide area.
And that hasn't changed.
And that's not changed. That was what he wanted. Do you know what I mean? Now people are quite rightly looking and going, we've only got one striker at the moment. The Michael Keane thing's nonsense. People need to just pack it in now with that. Yes, 10 minutes at the end of a game, maybe, but he's not.
But all teams will throw a centre-half up front when they're chasing. Yeah.
But if you're looking and going, we've only got Beto. And we might
for a month.
We might have another one for at least a month.
And that's a kid.
And then we might get Tom back, but that might be for 2 months.
That's
that could be the early April before
and you don't
we get
want
Calvert-Lewin.
The blunderbuss getting injured in the meantime.
And then Broya might be available at the end of April.
Yeah.
If things go well, good wind, or he might be back a little bit earlier, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So it mightn't be as... Yeah, but still, you're still talking...
It's still weeks.
Mid-April.
Many games away.
It's many, many games away. And that's where you are. So people naturally are worried, and the manager will be.
But these are risk calls.
They are, but I think you can make some risk calls. Like, I really want a midfield player. But I understand if he went, well, we've got James Garner, Irabun and Madrissa Garner-Gay, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Harrison Armstrong. They can all play in midfield. You'd sort of have, and Dwight McNeil when he's in, you'd sort of go, okay, I get it. We can cover it. Centre-backs, we've got 4. I get it. We can cover it. Full-backs, we've got 4 right-backs. James Garner can play there, 5 right-backs. Jake O'Brien, I haven't even included.
I was going to say, that's
6,
not counting Jake,
right?
Yeah.
You can piece bits together. Ideally, we want someone wide because Jack Harrison, it's not really working. I still think you give him a go on the left.
He's got to give him on his
Lindstrom,
side.
Who knows? He's improved, but me personally, be comfortable with someone on the right. But up front, we've got 1, and that's really where the issue is. So maybe someone who can do both, the right and forward. Maybe Richarlison, but maybe someone. I know Chuck Weezy was mentioned today as maybe a loan or whatever. But
we talk when we do the business stuff about coming to terms with the worst case, right? And then see if that impacts what you do, right? And if we say the worst cases, forget PSR and all that stuff. Let's just pretend it's value.
Yeah.
You can't find the value you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're really trying to think to yourself, can we go with what we've got, right? As a worst case. And that has to be impacted on tomorrow's game, right? Because your gain line, and again, he alluded to that, didn't he? It used to be 40. I don't think it's going to be that, and so on. So he's thinking in that way. If you said, if you had to, say the FD just said, there's no room whatsoever because of PSR. You can't have any players. Pretend, right? Would it be the end of the world? Wouldn't be very good, but would it be the end of the world, right? And if I personally would think, no, it's not the end of the world. It's not good, but it's not the end of the world. Then you're able to say, okay, so we'll deal with that. Now, where are we going to put our eggs in that basket over there? Are we trying to spread too thin? Would you trade, this is a question for you, I guess. Would you trade that noise I just gave out for... you end up with a real quality, pacey player because you put all your eggs in that basket? Or would you still want to go a bit thinner where you end up with 2 players, and obviously by definition?
No, you'd want, if there was a choice of 1 real quality or 2 who will help you.
Yeah,
but
bodies will help.
They're not going to be game changers. You go for the quality, of course, every time.
So that's getting that decision out, isn't it? And the one that I struggle with is if the manager sits down with the director of football, with the finance guy and the chief exec, whoever is around a committee table sort of thing, and they end up with, right, go get me, here's the list, the ones I like, and that might be the only one we get, and I'll deal with the rest of it, and then they're going, ooh, can't do that because of PSR. That's the bit I don't get.
interesting.
That's the bit I don't get.
David Murphy on the super chat says Julia Bold asking that Keane question was embarrassing. I think people ask Julia to ask questions. I was going to say, so
she asks...
She's literally just asking what some fans have asked, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. She should say, actually, it's a fan question. She wouldn't get the stick then, would she? Yeah.
She is just asking what fans have mentioning it, isn't she? Yeah. It's obviously, like you said before, David Moyes he's never one really to start going, oh yeah, we'll get 3 and no problem. He's always quite cagey. He's always been cagey. Always. He's done things where he said no chance and players are literally on the way for a medical, you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens.
I do, rightly or wrongly, we're all entitled to our own observations or opinions based on those observations. He may think we've set the bar too low on the quality of players. That's what I got from some of what he was saying when he was saying we should be doing this. Yeah. And the defence for that was PSR's the restriction. That then puts you into what you were just saying, actually. I'd rather not have players I ain't going to want come July, August now. And then we need to figure out how we get through these next months with... It's great thinking, oh, come May, we might have a full squad, but it might be too late by then, mightn't it, sort of thing, So we'll find out on Tuesday, won't we?
Well, we'll find out Monday, because that's when the deadline is.
Yeah. Lots of people might be asleep by the time all them deal sheets have gone in, yeah.
Then we have to be in it 1 minute to 11.
Yeah, that's right, but it's 2 hours then before you find out what's happened.
That's all right. That's okay. Evertonians know to stay awake, just in case.
Do you think we'll go home early again this time? We've gone home the last couple of years, haven't we?
I don't know. It's difficult to say, isn't it? Because what I will say is I feel like this will be the last window where everything feels like a struggle. I think every other window after this one, I think will be planned. Do you know what I mean? I think we'll probably still have things where we probably can't do that much this window because every club's got it. Every club is saying it.
Yeah.
Villa are saying they're having to sell John Duran and that corrects a few other issues. Things like that. Newcastle.
They win a couple of more games than the Champions League, and it'll make a massive difference.
Of course, but what I mean is a lot. I've heard, Liverpool really want to do anything because of PSR. All of them are talking about it. Manchester United want to bring Matthias Tell.
But they've got to sell.
Wants to come from Munich, the only club he wants to go to, really, even though Spurs have agreed the fee. And to go to United, and United have got to move someone out because of PSR to get that person in. So we're never going to be clear of this, doesn't seem. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But what I'm talking about is the scope. What we can do will get bigger. Our scope might be, we're all right with PSR, but we can only go up to 15 million. Where being compliant with PSR moving forward might be, we can go up to 60 million. But that's still, we can't go to 70. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get it. But I think because PSR is no more at the end of this window in England.
It'll flip to the next.
But it'll become squad ratio. What we don't know is how they're going to bridge. That's the so-called parallel running, isn't it? So maybe everyone's being cautious about how much they spend on players compared to revenue. And perhaps want to come out of this last window squeaky clean so that they can go into the new thing knowing exactly where they're at. And that's where we get some advantage. Huge uplift in income from a bigger stadium and higher prices. Huge increase in income, hopefully, alongside, getting a naming rights deal, which we still get the vibes that that's going to happen type of thing. And the aforementioned clearing of debts, which means costs that we had indeed in this financial year and before, we won't have in the next one. Because they've gone. Then it all comes down to the people who are going to spend that money.
Of course.
And that's where I guess most people, me included, by the way, think having Moyes there and the fact he treats it like it's his own money and he knows what the expectations are and he knows, not just knows, he believes this is a big club and should be performing better. And maybe he's the guy who's going to have to convince people to sign, manager does it personally type of thing.
Well, a lot of them still do, because you've heard players saying this. I spoke to the manager, and what he said convinced me to go there.
Oh,
so
yeah. That's normally about personal, how they're going to play and all
That's
that,
what it'll.
which is good,
That's what it'll do. The Blues says Forest went and bought Ramon Souza for some random league and he'd start for us. Well, Everton did look at Ramon Souza last August, but he cost money. That's why Forest got him, because they had money and we didn't.
Oh, you mean the upfront stuff? Cash flow, yeah.
Well, just didn't pay money, did we? Tom says we'll have to change it from next season. No, I know with the squad ratio, it's 85% of revenue, 70% for teams in Europe. Yeah, that's what I mean. It'll still be sort of still parameters, whatever you dress it up as.
Thankfully, we've got getting on for 40 million quid coming off our wage bill.
We have, yeah.
So again, we don't have to force players out and sell to try and balance these books, do we?
Dan, anyone who watches this will know Kareem Konate is one of my favourites. I think Everton should go and get him. He's a different type, mobile. Little bit of a punt, of course, because he's not playing in the top league, but I'd go and get him. Give him a go.
This I heard you first, man. Yeah.
I've mentioned Kareem Konate for 2 years, so no, not I heard you first, because Dan's mentioned it. I'm saying go.
You two can share it when he signs next
Go
week.
and get it. We don't do that kind of thing, do we?
No.
That's what I think.
Not yet, Baz. Not yet.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see whether we move to that. I don't know.
We'll see.
Fazza says, I wish we'd have kept Sims. Well, he hasn't had a good season for Coventry, has he? He's got 3 goals or something.
He was all right last season, and he's hit the wall this season.
Coventry fans don't rate him, really. So, who knows? We haven't got anyone ready underneath. Like last year and that year before, we had Cannon and Sims who were, not saying either of them were top, but they were just underneath, weren't they? But we haven't really. Martin Sheriff's not really ready, I don't think. So, Steve P says, Baz, thoughts on Norwich winger Borgia Saints? Yeah, I don't know. He's a good player. He's doing well for Norwich. Is he good enough to play in the Premier League? Is he quick enough? He's got good dribbling ability and a good shot on him. Depends what he wants, I guess. Gary Ward says, howdy. Blue Keeley says he seems to have lost confidence getting the players he wants. A lot of clubs will come out and say can't do anything. Can't get what we want.
Might be trying to shave a few pence off a deal as we speak.
Yeah, no one knows, do they?
Yeah.
To be fair. Blue Keeley says, I'm sick of hearing of Keane as a striker. Not sure why Julia asked that.
Someone asked her to.
Someone's obviously asked her to, haven't they? Jake says, pay up for Breuer and get Dewsbury Hall on loan.
Again, we've talked about that, isn't it? So it seems quite likely something will be done.
Brian says, I like the Glaswegian pronunciation of grass when he was referring to Timothy. Duck says, good day, lads. It wasn't very promising. I do think we can still stay up without reinforcements, though. Steve P says, I honestly can't wait till Keane is gone so we never have to hear that nonsense again. Duck says, Michael Keane is not a forward. That interview was having a laugh. And Michael Kearney says the BBC are doing it now. Give Keane a run up front. Ian the Blue says, afternoon lads, I thought Moyes looked a bit downhearted. Maybe he knows he's up against it.
No, I didn't see it that way, but that's the whole thing about just trying to guess.
He probably is frustrated, isn't he? I imagine so. Eddie says, let's get this weekend over. Come Monday, we will welcome 3 new faces. Good confidence, Eddie.
Yeah.
Augie says, thought it was pretty flat press conference. Seems he's lowering the expectations about the type of signings we can expect.
He was definitely doing that.
Danny Ings. Posh Matty says, can't we sublet the Liver building to the Gulf States Toyota office for 50 million? Chelsea will soon sell the grass clippings to a subsidiary for silly money. So why can't we play the silly games?
They don't own the pitch. They don't own the pitch, do they? Fans do.
Adam
do
says,
they own the grass?
You know, as much as we didn't like what he had to say, it's nice to hear some honesty coming out the manager's mouth. Something we've not had for many a year.
He's just calm, like you said.
He's in control, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's in control. He wants a beer. He wants to do well. And and he's an Evertonian, isn't he? Ultimately. The last fella wasn't. That's the way it is. Whether you like them or not, there's no denying that, is there? Harry says, OK, now I'm slightly concerned we're not going to bring anyone in. Hopefully he's just not wanting to give anything away. He's also not going to sit there going, we're sorted, lads, is he? So, Steve says, Bazir on to 18-year-old winger Hanabi, Bazumana, Torre, Hoffenheim. I've seen Hoffenheim were linked with Torre. Didn't realise it was him. David says, why does everyone else say we're fine with PSR, but the club say we aren't?
They know something we don't.
The club or everybody else?
No, they know something we don't.
Okay.
If people on the outside looking in, we've only got publicly available information, haven't we? And remember, none of us have seen the current account, the most recent accounts from last summer. So the 23, 24 ones. So...
See, I just would have thought people like Mark Douglas who are being fed would never say the club are fine and got money to spend. Well, yeah.
You know, if he was being fed by the director of football, you would think would know how much he's got to spend. Then
well, if it's a line though that quite a few people have gone in the media, then it's come from somewhere, and that line has come from somewhere.
Yeah. If
the club genuinely have got PSR problems, they can't do anything. Then you think everyone would know that within the club.
I think it was a generic observation, wasn't it? Like you just said, all clubs have to be mindful of PSR. I mean, we could have 100 million of PSR headroom, but if he wants to spend 150, he's got PSR issues.
Yeah, true,
so it's all where the line's drawn.
Yeah, true.
And it is management's expectation to some degree as well, by the looks of it. So
Everton Viking says, thought he spoke well for most part, yet I think his excuses are being readied by him and some of the media outlets. Now that we won't bring players in, I'm sorry, but excuses. Don't put the ball in the back of the net or cross them in or dribble past players. I do feel like we won't be bringing anyone in, and if we do, there'll be players most fans aren't happy with. I'm not impressed. Yeah, but who else has brought players in who you're impressed with this window, though? And I'm not making excuses because we need players and it's a big world out there, but who have made signings who you're impressed with so far?
And the manager pointed out how slow a window it's been.
But if you look around...
Was it 10 or 11 transactions, he said?
Man City...
They've done most of it.
I've spent the money, and yet some of their fans are like, brought young players in. Great. Mamouche, obviously, but Everton couldn't have got Omar Mamouche. Their other players are young players. He says, I know it's easy to blame the owner Thelwell recruitment team, but if you don't bring anyone in, it's mainly on Moyes. I don't think there's any point in ignoring it just because it's Moyes. What if the only players they can get are Danny Ings? Are you going to be happy with that? Just so Moyes can go, I've brought a player in. I think you're being a little bit... Yeah, I do. The recruitment team have underperformed for years. That's just a fact. It's out there. It's a fact. So's Kevin Thelwell. So's the owners. It's out there. Club have. Don't know. Maybe David Moyes will be to blame. A bit of it. Maybe he will. Maybe the recruitment team have lined up world-class, fast, world-class players who are ready to go for £2 million each and he won't pull the trigger. They haven't done it in any other window, so you have to take evidence. But I don't think you can just say it's Moyes. A lot of clubs haven't got anyone in.
You certainly can't say it's all on Moyes.
No, it's not. That is nonsense.
Yeah.
Terry says, could he be using PSR as a bargain and play? So the message is for players' agents because he's still hopeful.
Quite possible.
Possibly, yeah. All things are possible, aren't they? Kevin Maloney says, keen for Ings, straight up player trade. Steve P says, the other thing the club need to take into consideration, which is something we've seen to forget the last few years, is every position is worth close to £3 million. If we finish a few places higher, then wouldn't that pay for the first instalment on two £15 million players? There's a lot of very good young players in Europe for those prices. Who would improve us, as proven most recently by Bournemouth? Yeah, well, it's something that we've said for quite some time. Every place is worth, a down payment for a player. Get better players. Your down payments are taken care of, aren't they? G says, I was hoping for a couple of permanent deals this window to take the pressure off the recruitment in the summer. We're going to need 10 to 12 players in the summer, even if we have the money to do so. Rarely does mass recruitment in one window work out well. Correct. Mark Mack says, wouldn't the likes of Armstrong, Mills or Sheriff have a better impact than a panic buy like Danny Ings or Daka? I'd rather have Daka
not Ings
than Danny Ings,
yeah.
And I'd rather have Daka than Martin Sheriff, personally. Just my opinion. Gaz says, what that president may do is stop other clubs holding us to ransom. Possibly. Bill says, nobody asked if Breuer going back. I think he will and will bring another player in. Okay. Bill also says there's always a problem with recruitments with Everton, regardless of excuses. Kevin Maloney says, by Jacob Schaffelberg from Nashville, looked top shelf in the Copa America last summer. He is your new Radzinski and has speed to burn.
Oh.
I know. Mark says, Moyes probably seen the list and was like, what the f*** is this? Austin Linton says, I suppose no new news on Breuer is good news. I figure that they'd talk more about Breuer's timeline if he was staying. I don't know. I'm just trying to be positive. Yeah, who knows? Like, we're just reacting to what he said, aren't we? We don't know. Bill says, doesn't matter if we win or lose tomorrow. We have 15 fit players. We don't have players to bring on at 70 minutes in attacking areas. They need at least 2 players in. Yeah, and a win doesn't change that, does it? Still, because we still need another 2 or 3 wins after tomorrow. 2 probably.
Makes decisions easier to make.
Sog says, we've had a full week training with Beto's the focal point, so it's not like against Brighton. Marty on the bench is like for Beto. Okay. Nathan says, Igame was mentioned. Was the amount rumoured doable? I don't know, mate. Probably, but...
What was the amount?
I was saying 15 million. Is he worth 15 million? I don't know. The Rangers want him. They're through. Did he want to let him go? I don't know. Jake says, I was reading a bit about Oral Mangala. When he was a child, he was getting a football from a road and was hit by a car and told he may never walk again and has permanent scar on his face. Horrible news with the injury, but after reading that, I think he'll be back stronger. Good luck to him. I'm sure he will be fine. Jonathan says, we must have some money in PSR, as if Deitch was still in charge. Neumann would already be here. Clearly, just not the right player is available. There is that.
Don't forget, we've got an increase in costs for all the coaching staff that have come in. Yeah. But again, it's only, from PSR point of view, it's only 5 months' worth.
Bill says we would examine having Sheriff or Benjamin on the bench if it comes to worst. Well, he will be one of them. Martin Sheriff, I imagine, will be shut tomorrow.
Because he was last week. Yeah.
Buck says, still don't think it'll be Groundhog Day on Monday. No. Hoyle 433 says, in Moyes we trust. Emma says, up at Bullens tomorrow. See you there, Baz. Come and say hello, Emma. Up the Toffees.
Small window of opportunity.
Yeah, there is.
Was it 1 minute before kick-off?
It's 2.
Are you aiming for 2, do you?
2 minutes before kick-off. 8 minutes afterwards. Ian says we could sign players from Europe, South America, etc. There are fans of the club who'd say, why are we signing him? Who is he? Never heard of him. Okay. I think the problem is there is an issue with some players, isn't there? With people want anyone in to say you've got players in. And we've all done this. Then you get a player in. And by the summer, you don't need them anymore because you're getting better. Then everyone will have a go at the club because they can't get in them. Why did we sign him? And that's the problem. People just go, we need. We do. I mean, I'm sort of in there. We do need.
Yeah.
15 fit players isn't going to cut it. But I think
that's why I always rail.
I imagine 2 or 3 will come.
Yeah, that's why I always rail against anyone's better than no one, because that's not true. Makes you feel better, like you said, on the day, and then realisation kicks in the day after. He earns what?
Well, that's the
contract's problem. How long?
I do think players will come in. I do.
Well, because there's lots of other clubs who have, let's just describe it this way, more PSR problems than we've got. and some of them may have to move players out. Their fans might be expecting players to come in, and as you just said with Newcastle, be interesting to see if they bring anyone in, or literally they're balancing the books.
Well, he said, Eddie Howe, they're not bringing anyone in.
Yeah,
they're done.
well, there you go.
He said they're done. They've got no
And
room.
they've gone with him. We'll get more money now than we would in June. So they've made that hard decision.
I think what'll happen is, and what normally happens with transfer windows, is the final sort of 36 hours of when it moves, if it's going to move.
The dominoes start falling then.
Get tomorrow out the way, beat Leicester, put ourselves in a better position, and then hopefully go and grab a couple within, because teams start going, actually, yeah, take him off us. Do you know what I mean?
We don't want to be left with him.
He doesn't want to stay. We don't want him. Whatever. Let's just see what happens. But that's where we are, isn't it? That's where we are. I don't think it can be a case of anyone will do. I don't think it's quite there. But Tim says, why do you prefer Daka over who? Ings or Martin Sheriff? I prefer Daka over Martin Sheriff every day of the week and 4 times on a Sunday, because he's got 21 international goals in 48 games. He's got, I don't know, probably something like 1 in 4 for Leicester since he went there. Not ideal. He's not one I'd be like chasing around Europe, but if you're offering me Patson Daka, Danny Ings or Martin Sheriff,
you know which one I'm
taking Patson Daka every day of the week. Ings has got 4 goals in 50 games or something, or the past 3 seasons or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's up to it's like I say, Moyes has always done this. I know when I worked there and David Moyes was the manager, you speak to people within the club and it'd be like, no, we're done. We're not doing anything. And then you'd go in on it the day of the transfer deadline and he'd be running around going, manager's changed his mind, he wants 2. And they're everywhere chasing everything, because he'd just get up and go, actually, no,
I've decided.
I've thought about it, we need this. And they'd be working crazy times. And, you know, Marouane Fellaini, they literally got on a plane at 7 o'clock and went to Germany. They went signing him and then just went, actually, we'll try and get him. And got on a plane. And we know about the fax machine and everything else that went on to get Marouane Fellaini. So, I you know, if it's sort of 1 o'clock Monday, 2 o'clock, and it's like, we'll have a try for this play, you can probably go, we probably won't get him. But I imagine the work will start early tomorrow night for David Moyes.
Yeah.
Regardless, I believe win, lose or draw.
And there's clearly a deal to be done with Chelsea, isn't there?
I don't know. The only deal to be done
2 blinks first
is pay the money to Chelsea.
Well,
say, look, we will pay what we were paying, which is his wages. It'll cost us £2 million, but cancel that loan and give us
this other guy,
Christopher and Kunku, who they, you know, United are looking at. At least he scores goals, get him. Or, you know, Chukwuemeka or Keane and Dewsbury Hall. Give us them, we'll pay their wages as well. Because that would be my opinion. And Everton, I'm sure the financial people and the recruitment team might say to me, be silly, you can't. But that, in my mind, even if that whole thing ended up costing Everton £4 million between now and the summer, I would rather pay that to Chelsea to have a Dewsbury Hall or a Chukwuemeka or a Nkunku.
That's roughly £100,000 a week.
Right, but I would rather pay that than go and buy a player who I know come the summer we're disregarding anyway. We don't really want him. Do you know what I mean?
I'm with you.
Someone who you go, well, we have to pay £3 million for him for the rest of the season. I'd go, I'm confident he's going to get us at least 1 place higher, which is gets me back to 0.
Yep.
But also, I know in the summer that we reset anyway. Now, if it was Dewsbury Hall and he come in and did really well, you might be able to persuade him that, actually, we want you to stay. Do you want to stay? He's only mid-20s. Could be really good. Come to a new stadium or something like that. It might simply be, thank you very much for all your work, and off he goes. At least you know in the summer you're cutting it. Whereas if we got I don't know, a player from Danny Ings for just using him just because the name's out there, and it cost Everton $2.5 million now because West Ham were like, well, we want something for him, and you're paying him 70, 80 grand a week
as well.
But he gets a 2.5-year contract. Come the summer, we're going, what, he's just a sub. No one wants Danny Ings to start. No one really. Well, me personally, I don't want him to start, and I don't want him to be my backup striker either. So he becomes number 3 on 70 grand a week, and we're round the loop again and going.
We've been there.
Here we go. I'd rather give a 21-year-old 60 grand a week and go, we'll move him. You know, we might get money, but someone might come and buy him if he does. Do you know what I mean? I'm just using mad figures there, but that's what.
No, I get it.
That's what I'm looking at. But whether or not Chelsea will do that deal without us saying, there you go.
Depends if they need or want, as in need, to move players out, and how many other clubs are able to take those players off them. You know, and that's why it all happens in the last 36 hours.
Of course,
they start thinking, we've got this offer from Everton, but we might get more. Yeah, but there's only 24 hours to go, you know.
Yeah.
And it's 2 blinks, yeah.
There is money, Hendy. It's just there's not tons of money. And he sort of indicated that, didn't he?
Yeah.
He indicated that. That's where we are. That's sort of where we are. Right, let's do one more refresh on Prem. Tomorrow, what are you feeling then? You feeling confident?
Yeah, of course.
Be a tough game.
It will.
Be a tough game, but I think there's enough. NGI and Lindstrom, Beto. There's enough. I fancy Decore to score tomorrow, to be honest. About time he did.
Yeah.
But I think there's enough in our team to beat them.
Yeah.
They let goals in.
They do.
So.
And Vardy will keep our defence honest.
I actually think if Everton can get ahead tomorrow, I think we can build on that, really. I think the crowd will play a big part. You know, they had a great win last week, and if Everton win tomorrow, will be a great result for Everton. That Leicester beat Spurs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
we'll
that puts
maybe.
Well, if Everton win tomorrow, they do go above them because they don't play till 2:00 on Sunday.
And they've got to win to get back above.
And I actually think
they won't.
Brentford will beat them.
That's right. Yeah.
So tomorrow is a sort of pivotal game.
It is.
I think the least Everton do is don't lose the game, because then they don't make any ground up on us.
Absolutely right.
That's like the biggest thing. But Leicester at home is one you've got to look at and go, we beat these. I'm confident we can beat these. Terry McKenna says, if we get Danny Ings, he'd probably score an own goal. Jonathan says, oh no, I've done that one, sorry. I've seen Maxim de Cooper stay, yes. Tom Dobbo says, Braden Graham up front, too young but better than what we've got. Steve P says, Igman is better off the left, so it wouldn't make much sense. He's not a natural striker. Very good technical ability, though, good dribbler. Mark Mack says, Everton probably the only club in the league still with a fax machine. And Kev Maloney says, what is the industry standard for injured players on loan? You pay them, regardless. Same
as a player who's not on loan.
Not on loan, yeah. The club you're doing a deal with, you'd have to try. Like Leon, I don't think Leon are going to be cancelling Mangala's terms just to help us out. I really don't.
Yeah, but it was interesting that David talked about we're just waiting for the surgeon to confirm it, implying there is a contractual clause, perhaps that subject to medical opinion.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. What I'm saying, I'm just looking at it and going, why would Leon go, yeah, you don't have to pay us for him when we took their play and he's injured, so they can't use him. So, yeah, who knows? The Breuer thing, I think, is curious. If Everton aren't. I don't understand Chelsea's point of view. Do you know what I mean? Unless Chelsea's saying, we will do the deal with you for another player, but you've got to pay Breuer. Do you know what I mean? I get that side of it.
That's what I'd be doing if I was Chelsea.
I get that side of it. But if Chelsea just go, we're not cancelling the thing, I'm giving you another player because you need to pay Breuer. And if Everton aren't saying, well, we will pay Breuer, but we want another one of your players instead, cancel a loan and give us someone else then, and we'll pay both to get someone in who's
going back
Premier
to
League.
that worst case thing again. That's what that is, isn't it? You're paying for both. That's your worst case. The best case for them is all the players they want to move out go somewhere else, and Breuer stays here, right? If you just do the Breuer swap thing, which is our best case, which is give us a player that's fit, and we'll give you one that's not, and it's the same.
Yeah.
Miracle if you do that, but it doesn't have to be a huge amount more. You know, for Chelsea, you think, well, it's a deal worth doing.
Yeah.
You know, we end up, 50,
We're training their
50,
players up.
Yeah, 50. We end up with a player 50. We end up financially 50 pence better off, and we've got, we're still waiting for their decision yet, aren't we? I don't know where they are on breaching rules in the past and so on. Yeah.
Well, Chelsea don't play till Monday night, do they?
Right. So they're playing while the window's.
So their game's Monday night. So therefore,
you're going to look at who's in this. No.
What I'm saying is, therefore, Everton can start, beat. They're not complicated by games over the weekend, are they? We are tomorrow. Then Everton might be able to do that deal on Sunday. Chelsea. Who knows? That's what I hope. I really hope that Everton do sort of ask the question.
Because that's simpler. Easier done, isn't it? Because the whole transactions are getting done with the same club.
Who knows? Right, we're done. Make sure you like, subscribe. Check out Ped's Starting 11. Check out the preview as well ahead of Evans' game against Leicester City tomorrow. Make sure you like, subscribe. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed. But over 95,000 now, heading for that 100,000. So thank you very much for all that. Have a brilliant weekend and up the Toffees.